What's up, people of the internet? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are talking about the H.R. 1 piece of legislation that is trying to currently be passed in the legislative branches of our government, also being known as the For the People Act. So the H.R. 1 legislation, again, is the latest in the Democratic efforts to try to do away with the restrictions on who is and who is not allowed to vote in this country. As we saw in this past election, major voter fraud. I know a lot of people are gonna say that I'm crazy, call me a conspiracy theorist. I was in DC at the time. I was working on a different campaign, not presidential campaign, but I was working on a campaign. And I was in DC watching as the votes were coming in. Anybody with a brain that is not corrupted by political media and liberal media. I mean, when you see that both candidates are neck and neck at one point, and then at 10 p.m. votes stop, like a solid 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden, Biden creeps up by extra 200,000 votes, and Trump is at the same level that he was, and then he never moved. Anybody with the brain, political or not, should see that there's something wrong with that. You cannot rationalize and tell me that Joe Biden got more votes than the first black president of the United States. So this act, one of the things this act will dismantle and get rid of, it will not require, necessarily, voter ID to vote. Something that has been required in most states for quite a very long time, which tries to ensure somewhat the integrity of our voter system. So basically, you won't necessarily have to show ID to vote, which I think is flawed in and of itself. This bill will also expand same-day registration to vote and lessen ID requirements like we just talked about, so you can register to vote on the same day. So the bill also, this legislation also requires that criminals are to be automatically registered to vote once they finish serving their sentences in prison. So currently, convicts and criminals are not legally allowed to vote even after they get out of prison, which I think is a good thing. I'm sorry, but if you have been convicted of a felony or a crime, you should lose your right to vote. That's just my personal opinion. This bill will allow these criminals, these ex-cons, to, the moment they are finished their sentences, we're talking about rapists, we're talking about child molesters, we're talking about thieves, burglars, any type of criminal, the moment that they're finished serving their sentences, their voting rights are restored and they're automatically registered to vote. This legislation also will require the future presidents to release their tax returns to the general public and make the election process more secure by only using paper ballots. The idea that the election process will be made more secure by using paper ballots is so messed up. So messed up. It's mind-boggling. So they're saying that by voting solely by paper ballots, mail-in voting, paper ballots, doing away with the electronic system, that's gonna stop voter fraud. It's ridiculous. So that's the gist of this. That was the gist of this legislation.